episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. Once again, live on Millions. So, this is kind of a cleanup episode before we start getting in bowl games this week. First bowl games start, I want to say Saturday,
Yep,
if not Friday.
Georgia Southern. I think Georgia Southern and Ohio in the Myrtle Beach Bowl or whatever sponsor they have.
Should have been the Bahamas.
Should have been.
But for this little cleanup, we're doing Army Navy talk towards the end, talking about the Heisman and some little bit of updated portal stuff, and probably a little basketball towards the end as well. Um, Make sure to check out our merch on millions.co. And how's your weekend and what are you drinking?
I actually don't have anything on me right now. It's been a busy Sunday trying to get everybody situated last week of school before Christmas break, so that's exciting. Spent the last like 45 minutes trying to get a refund. Skyla, my daughter, accidentally she was clicking on an Xbox controller and accidentally spent $150 on Madden points, whatever the hell that is. So I spent like 45 minutes trying to get a refund. So I,
Did
I
you?
cleared that up right before we got on.
Good. Good.
I was having a heart attack. It would not let me do anything. I even contacted EA, Bill Gates, everybody I could to get that refund, and I'm good now.
Okay. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. So
Yeah.
if you're listening and your kid spends $150 on Madden, call Mike. He knows the answer.
Well, I can't do it gentle. I have to say that if like Child Protective Services was listening, I would probably get my kids taken from me for a little bit. A lot of words that I say on here a lot, but I probably shouldn't say around the kids. We're sad.
Ah, they got to learn it sometime, you know.
Yeah, parenting is not our forte. It's not our style at
Well,
all.
you don't have gentle kids either, so
That's fair. That's very fair. One is delicate, the other three not so much. You guys can guess which one. You'd be surprised.
yeah.
All
Oh,
right, how about you? How's it going?
man, honestly, this is gonna sound pretty crazy for me. Are you ready?
All right.
Um, Played in a disc golf tournament on Friday.
Okay.
Finished top 10, so that was pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Um, we were actually two strokes out of winning money, so it kind of sucks that our team
Oh.
was too short. Um, Saturday, I was responsible and did chores around the house, which, if you know me,
Oh wow.
responsible and John do not go in the same sentence.
Hmm.
Um, and today, I didn't play in a disc golf tournament, but I walked with one of my friends who was leading a tournament. And I was like,
Oh.
hey, dude, don't be stupid. You should throw this shot. And he won. So, I'll take
Maybe
responsibility.
I was say maybe you should be a coach in the future. Just time to hang it up.
Yeah, those that can't do coach.
And those that can't teach PE. So holler at your boy.
Yeah, but I got caffeine free Diet Coke again. I will say I did have a celebratory beer after my friend won the tournament today.
Nice.
So, you know,
Yeah. I
I've had one since I
I
said no more.
I also had one. That was on Friday uh when we were coming home from work. Went to the Mexican place down the street, and they raised the prices on the food like significantly. I wasn't gonna pay 15 bucks for tacos, so I spent like seven on like a giant Dos Equis. So that was my dinner that day,
Yeah,
like a
there you
true
go.
alcoholic.
There you go. No, mine was just a PBR out of my friend's cooler.
Beautiful.
So this disc golf tournament was actually at a real golf course.
Hmm.
So they had a cart girl that was rolling around, like selling stuff to people.
Yeah.
But I left my wallet in the truck. So
Damn.
so I was just like, "Hey man, I'm thirsty. You got something?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm taking some beers up there. We're gonna have a beer before we head out." And I was like, "That's my only choice, I guess." One of my real good friends just won the tournament. I guess I'll drink a beer with him.
What a sacrifice.
I know, I know. Um, so let's go ahead and jump into this portal stuff. Um, so there are what 13 players in the portal as of a few minutes ago.
I think so. It was 11 when I last updated it. That was like this morning. So I don't know the last two that entered it.
So I put one of the guys in,
Oh,
but
Hayes, yeah.
I know we're missing one of the names. But a lot of the guys we talked about last week: Austin Blasky, Darius Smith, Jackson Meeks, C.J. Madden, Jonathan Jefferson, Nyland Green, Brock Vandegrift. Brock is still the only person to commit to a team. Um, I will say I've heard rumors about Jackson Meeks going to somewhere out west.
Okay.
One of the offenses that throws the ball a lot out there. So um, I hope he does well. I hope all the guys that leave do well. If I'm being entirely honest, I'm not one of those salty
Hmm.
fans.
No.
Um, but the new names. So since we recorded on Wednesday, we got wide receiver Makai Muse. So far, he's got offers from Syracuse, Georgia Tech, East Carolina, Jacksonville State. I will say, ironically, Syracuse and Georgia Tech both have Georgia ties in their coaching staff, so that makes sense. They know what he can do firsthand.
Hmm.
Um, I personally, I think he would do best at Georgia Tech, but I hope he goes to Syracuse.
Yeah, Fran Brown uh needs some able
Talent.
bodies. Yeah, he needs talent up there. That's the thing that they're sorely lacking. I mean, if you can get some Southern players to go up to Syracuse, New York, and try to stay there, through the winter and all that, then
Well,
then
they
you're
do
good.
play in a dome.
That doesn't have air conditioning, by the way.
Why
They're
do
the
you need
Carrier
air
Dome,
conditioning in Canada?
basically. But I'm sure in the summer it gets like sticky and nasty. Even like Minnesota and stuff like that get decently warm this summer. But yeah, September, October probably not nearly as bad.
I
But
can tell you that it was as hot yesterday in Savannah as it probably is in Syracuse in the summer.
yeah, it was warm yesterday, man. It was like
Oh,
almost 80.
it was great.
Yeah.
It was damn near 80, sunny, busted out with
Hmm.
shorts again. It's one of
Hmm.
the reasons I love this city.
For real.
Um, so Jared Zirkel, kicker, he was on kickoff duty this year after I said that he was going to be the breakout kicker of the season. Cold take for me, but I did hedge a little bit and say whoever wins the job is going to break out this year. So my
Yeah.
hedging one. Um, but he's into the transfer portal, but it has been reported that he will stay through the Orange Bowl to continue with those kickoff duties. After the 2018 season, that's not something Kirby normally does. But I'm guessing that Peyton Woodring doesn't just doesn't quite have the kickoff leg yet. Um, so that makes sense. Kind of, you know, if a guy has one job, then why not keep him even though he's transferring?
Hmm. Was
Zay, go
was
ahead.
was Zer was Zirkle a scholarship player? I know Woodring was.
He was the first scholarship kicker that Kirby offered.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Um, and there was some funky stuff with his recruiting too because he was technically gray shirted, so the scholarship counted towards the next year when there were still scholarship limits.
Hmm.
Um, but that's way outside the point. Linebacker Xavier Sori entered the transfer portal, former top 50 recruit. If you don't recognize the name, he's the guy that egregious horse collar tackle was called on during the SEC championship game. Um,
Sorry.
yeah, I don't necessarily get that one. I'm guessing, judging by all the edge and linebacker players that are leaving, I would say that the young guys are going to have a bigger role, and they're probably attacking that spot in the portal pretty hard or planning to.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Um,
linebackers that Georgia has in the portal right now. Xavier Sorley, on three, has this NIL evaluation, and you can take this for what it's worth, like just a grain of sand, a grain of salt, or whatever. $95,000. Where like Brock Vandegrift, I think was like 460 or something like that, some odd number.
I believe that for Brock.
Yeah, Nyland Green's 96,000, so a little bit more than Sorey.
Interesting.
Hmm. Oh yeah, Brock was 470. That's what he was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Xavier Sori could have done well in this defense, but I think one of the big things especially after the run defense in the SEC championship game. They want. I think they're going to make an effort to have bigger guys play linebacker
Hmm.
more than For the longest time, you had guys like Roquan Smith, and you had speed and size. Like even currently, Smile Mondon, he's got speed and size, and some of these guys had speed and just couldn't put on the weight. So that was probably a defining factor in them transferring after a couple years. Another guy in that linebacker spot, EJ Lightsey, um, he's in the portal as well. These guys can still all come back, of course,
Hmm.
but I think there will probably be some stipulations on them coming back. If I had to say, because for what, three of these guys, playing time, especially next year, wasn't even going to be a factor. So that is kind of questionable on their decisions.
Hmm.
Um, and then last, a guy that I was really excited for out of this most recent recruiting class, Yazid Hayes. I was really excited about him. I thought he could be a fit that Arian Smith mold. Um, he did well in the spring game. He did well in his playing time early in the year. But when the games got tougher, there wasn't much playing time for him, and he's leaving. He is from Pennsylvania, and he was initially committed to Penn State. Penn State's getting a new offensive coordinator that is competent. So
Hopefully for their sake.
what? Okay, he was competent at his last job.
Who is it? Do you know? I haven't paid attention.
I don't. I'll have to look it up real quick because I don't remember the name.
Yeah,
I
because
was able.
ultimately it doesn't matter. It's Penn State. It's still James Franklin still in charge, so they'll still choke.
Honestly, Andy Kotelnicki.
That's a very Big Ten name.
Yeah, he was actually the offensive coordinator at Kansas under Lance Leipold
Ooh,
with their offense. That's where I remember. I saw an Instagram reel about the plays that he designed and ran at Kansas that worked really well.
yeah.
So if
Okay,
James
that's a
Franklin
good
doesn't
get.
handcuff him, then I think a guy like Hayes will be very good in that offense with the
Hmm.
style that it's going to be.
Yeah.
Um, I hate to see him go, but I do think if he goes to Penn State with that offense, that he will do well.
Hmm. And like you said, I don't think there's anybody that has transferred away from Georgia that we had like ill wishes toward or anything. We want to see all these guys do well. I mean, just kids trying to make the best of their situation. You only have so long in college football, so you want to see the field. You don't want to just sit there or anything like that. So no hate toward any of them.
No, the only
It's
time
just
I will
yeah,
give
just Jermaine
somebody,
Burton.
the only time I will give somebody shit for transferring, first was Cade Mays. With the whole
Yeah.
lawsuit thing because he was trying to get eligible, and the reality behind it was Georgia said his brother wasn't good enough, so they didn't offer him a scholarship, so his dad forced him to leave.
Hmm.
Trash.
Yeah.
Justin Fields, his sister still played softball at Georgia, but he said it was a racist institution and his family wouldn't let him play there anymore.
Yeah.
But his
And he
sister
and
is
he
still
visited
on
the
the
football
softball
facility.
team.
And he visited the football facility like after that too,
Yeah,
like after he left. So yeah, very yeah, interesting.
trash.
Hmm.
Um, and then Jermaine Burton, just because of his antics off the field more than anything. I will say it was real shady when he had that long handshake real close to Nick Saban after he beat him in the title game in 2021, and then 2 weeks later he's transferring there. Just saying.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I'm not going to accuse anybody of tampering, but it sure as hell looked like it.
Yeah, that might be the textbook definition. I don't know.
Uh, you know, I don't know if there is a textbook definition because there's not really any rules to any of this right
That's true. Hmm.
now. So portal targets for Georgia. A few of these guys have already been crystal balled to Georgia. A couple of them we are still hopeful on, but the jury's still out. Some. So London Humphreys, he was actually on campus this weekend. Still crystal ball to Georgia. I think that's going to be a great pickup.
Yeah.
Florida running back Trevor Etienne. We first said, Kentucky would be a good spot for him.
Hmm.
He's been crystal balled to Georgia, and that's hilarious. That
I
he
really
is,
hope it is.
if he comes to Georgia, it's going to be one of those things of Billy Napier made his bed by playing the hell out of Montrell Johnson, who is clearly not the better running back out of the two.
Yeah.
And just like Trevor Etienne rarely saw the field, but when he did, it was explosive.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Nah, Montrell's my guy. He was with me at Louisiana. He's going to be with me here." And Trevor's like, "Okay, I won't be with you here. Cool." And if he goes to their biggest rival, that can the offense just be Trevor Etienne in that game next year?
Ooh, I hope so. Even
Let
like
him throw
early
the ball.
last year. Yeah. I don't think you would need to against Florida if just kind of the way it's been going for them. Their recruiting class is falling apart. People are their best players transferring out. They still got Graham Mertz for
I was
now.
about to say,
We'll
man,
see.
Graham Mertz has another year of eligibility. What do you mean their
Yeah.
best player?
But it's I think I want to say Trevor averaged like 5 or 6 yards a carry, even with that kind of predictable offense for the most part that kind of stalled at times. So he's impressive. Even Travis at the beginning of the year, I think it was like during the Utah game,
Yeah.
his brother Travis Etienne was like, "We got to get this boy out of Gainesville. We got to get him somewhere else."
Well, he initially wanted him to go play for Dion, and then that got real quiet real quick.
Yeah. But my question is, and I asked Will on Twitter, why does the Etienne family hate Louisiana so much? Why won't he go to LSU?
That's a great question, especially because Logan Diggs, I don't think he has any eligibility left.
I don't think Will seemed to think that he did from
Okay.
what he his response was he doesn't want to compete with Diggs. So,
Yeah, but if he comes to Georgia, he's going to compete with Dejan Edwards, Branson Robinson, Roderick
well, Dacian's
Robinson, Andrew Paul.
Dacian's gone though. He doesn't have any eligibility left, right?
I think he's got at least 1 year.
I don't No, I don't think so. I want to say he's done. He could.
I didn't think
Hopefully
he
he's
played
back.
enough his freshman year to not redshirt.
Hmm. I'm not
Either
sure.
way,
That's a good question. That's a
either
good
way,
question. But Branson. This is why I brought it up before on Wednesday with Branson Robinson with his torn patella tendon and all that. It takes a while to come back from that. We know firsthand from Nick Chubb his injury. He wasn't the same guy. He got hurt in 2015, came back in 2016. He was still effective, but not Nick Chubb that we knew in 2017 and beyond, and before the injury too. So, Branson still might be a question mark coming into next season. And I don't know. You can never have enough talented running backs. So I for one would welcome Trevor Etienne with open arms.
and so I was thinking about it today while I was grocery shopping with my wife and not really paying attention to grocery shopping. Trevor Etienne. I don't know if there is a better comparison in recent memory for Trevor Etienne other than Kenny McIntosh.
And that's what we are kind of missing this year.
Yes, yes, I
That would
think
be
that would
huge.
be a phenomenal pickup for Georgia,
Mhm.
especially just to put salt in the wound that he was a Florida player.
Mhm.
Like
It's like
just
the a better switcheroo than the Brennan Cox deal a few years ago. Although he was kind of more or less thrown off the team, and then he got thrown off of Florida too. So
yeah, and I don't from everything that I've seen about the ETN family publicly, he does not have. I don't think Brenton Cox has the amount of character in his pinky that Trevor Etienne has,
mhm.
or whatever way that makes sense. I don't know.
I know what you're saying. I'm
Yeah,
picking up what
yeah,
you're
yeah,
laying down.
yeah, yeah. So another guy that we were really hoping that Georgia would make a run on, Walter Nolan. He is currently 97% crystal ball to Oregon. That makes sense. It's a
Yeah.
Dan Lanning team. I
Hmm.
still hope that Georgia can pull a late one. But Georgia has also been recruiting high school hard this weekend from
Yeah.
all the posts that we've seen. Um, and Joey Slackman, really like this guy as a player, want him to come to Georgia, But if he chooses his last year of eligibility to go to Florida, he's dead to me.
Yeah. Rutgers is another one. I think right now I think they're both below 50% on the on three, like Cristobal, but Florida and Rutgers are the ones that are at the top of that list, which he's got to have better options than that, right?
He's got to.
I would hope so.
I he's got. I think he should. Like, there's absolutely no way that those are his only two, unless he's going for a very specific graduate degree, and there's only a
Mhm.
few schools that offer it.
I'm sure Florida has like underwater jort making or something that he can get into. I don't know.
If that's the case, Joey, you're not dead to me. I'm just a little disappointed.
Mhm.
If it's for your education, I'll accept it, but be sad.
Wasn't uh when we talked about it before with Brock, the graduate degree, what was it? Whiskey distillery.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
was the
yeah.
degree you talked
So,
about?
Kentucky and Louisville both have master's degrees in bourbon distilling.
That's right. Why doesn't Georgia have that? I know we talked about that before. Make it
I'm
happen.
sure Georgia has a master's in frat parties
Oh, for sure.
or fake
For
ID
sure.
making or
Yeah.
ooh, this is a good one. I think Georgia, if they don't already have it, they need to have a master's degree in talking your way out of speeding tickets.
Who would teach that? Because nobody on campus can do that right now.
You just, you get you get somebody from Athens Clark County PD that's retired,
Yeah.
come in and teach a course.
You know who could do that is Jen. She's gotten me out of several tickets at in Athens. Mostly because she
I
was super pregnant, but she's able to every time that she's been with me, I've been able to get out of tickets. If I'm by myself, I get them.
when I was on my way, like I was driving to Fort Stewart to get on a plane and go overseas. I got pulled over in a small town in the middle of nowhere for speeding, and this 350 cop walks up, and I'm pissed, and I
Yeah.
start yelling at him. I'm legitimately yelling at this cop, and he's like, "Son, do you know I'm the chief of police?" Dude, I don't care.
And you're out here giving speeding tickets. That's bad.
And I was like, "Look, dude, you see the bags in the back of my car? That's because I'm getting on a plane tomorrow to go to Afghanistan." It's like, I promise you, I will get this ticket extended and extended and extended and extended and come fight it in court because, first off, I know your technology doesn't work that way. I know speeding radars don't work around a corner in changes of elevation and when it's raining. It's like, so you can choose to give me this ticket and then in a year I'll see you in court, or you can just walk away.
Mhm.
And he said, have a good day. So
There you
you just listen to me and yell at police officers when they pull you over.
go. I wow. I will strongly say that any player, if you're listening or get advice from this, do not do that. Do not do that.
No, no, I
God
really,
no.
I think the situation I was in is the reason I got away with it. So
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
do that. Um, or just always have short hair, shaved face, and a backseat full of duffel bags.
I don't, that might not
I
be
like,
good either.
I, you can't be creepy.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you
You have
can't
to
have a
have
mustache.
or a trench coat or anything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Make sure they're military duffel bags. Like if you're gonna lie, be good about it. You know. Oh, all right. So back to portal stuff. We got on a way tangent there. Another guy that was visiting Georgia this weekend, defensive lineman Xavier McLeod from South Carolina. I remember his name getting called quite a bit during the Georgia
Hmm.
game. So Kirby's just still on his. If you did well against us, we're just gonna go after you in the portal. It just is what it is.
Hmm.
Um,
He
I
was I think he was former whenever he was a senior, he was like Mr. South Carolina football or whatever I saw too. So
yes.
he was yeah. And Georgia was in on him big time during his high school recruitment. So that's another thing. Playing well against Georgia and then having a good relationship with them as high school students or high school recruits, that usually helps Kirby in the portal as well. Like you have a good idea of what you're getting into. You have a relationship or at least, prior idea how they would be.
Yes. And then last guy, kind of a little bit of a surprise for me. He
Yeah.
was on campus this weekend. USC, and I mean the real USC this time. Wide receiver Michael Jackson the third.
Do you know what Michael Jackson's pronouns are?
Hee hee.
Yeah, there we go.
So one thing about Michael Jackson the third is that he has 1 year of eligibility left. He has shown the explosive capability. I mean, he has 17 catches for 146 yards this season. He just
Okay.
kind of got overshadowed because USC had five number one receivers. In all
Yeah.
reality,
Yeah.
um, but 17 catches, 146 yards. So pretty good on that. He also returned kicks for them at some point, so I think that he would be a very nice addition to the team, especially depending on who goes pro and who else decides to enter the portal after the bowl game.
Hmm.
So outside of Georgia stuff, there have been some pretty big movements within the transfer portal as far as rumors and crystal balls and a couple actual commitments. Um, so DJ Uyunglele looks like he's going to play for Louisville. That'll be interesting because they might play Clemson next year, and if they make it to an ACC title game and Clemson does too, that would be a very
Ooh,
interesting
that'd be good.
reunion there.
That would
Um,
be that would be the most interesting ACC championship maybe ever.
Maybe ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had a lot of duds.
Yeah.
Um, I'm actually looking up Clemson's schedule next year just to see. Shout out
Oh, we
FBschedules.com. Ooh, they do play Louisville next year, so that would be a real
Ooh.
interesting revenge game.
Is it in Clemson or in Louisville?
It is. It's in Clemson. It looks like.
Ooh, revenge game. Let's go. Let's go.
Kyle McCord, as you probably know him on this show, Honda McCord,
Mm.
looks like he might be going to Nebraska. So
Yeah,
Nebraska
yeah.
just out here targeting mid quarterbacks in the portal once again seems to be their specialty. Like when they passed on Joe Burrow because they said that they already had a guy better than him.
Yeah, they had Adrian Martinez.
Yes, one
Yeah,
of
no.
the Martinez quarterbacks that's played for Nebraska over the last 20 years. It seems like that's been almost all of them.
It really has been. I think Julian Fleming is supposed to be visiting the receiver from Ohio State. He's supposed to be visiting Nebraska as well uh with Kyle. So that might help him a little bit, but although it didn't help him at Ohio State. So
That's
yeah,
fair. Fair.
yeah,
If Marvin Harrison Jr. can't make you look like a good quarterback, you might
mhm,
just not be a good quarterback.
yeah, ain't it?
Um, so Riley Leonard, Duke quarterback, looks like he's going to Notre Dame. So Notre Dame's hitting the ACC for a quarterback once again. That'll be interesting. I thought Sam Hartman did well this year, but I think it
Yeah.
was kind of the rest of the team that started to let him down towards the end of the year.
Hmm.
Um, Dylan Gabriel, former UCF quarterback and former Oklahoma quarterback, going to play for Dan Lanning in Oregon. I think that is probably one of the better matches that we've seen get made so far this year.
He's been in college football forever too. Good Lord. I mean, I think he played in like 2018 too, I think.
I think he was actually a senior when Stetson was a freshman.
He's
But
he
as
he
long
keeps
if
finding eligibility.
the only way that people can get mad at you is if you win back-to-back national titles, then you're too old.
Right. Mhm.
Um,
Did you see that comment that Stetson had about all the guys that
yes,
were finalists? Perfect.
yes,
I love Petty Stetson. That's why he needs a statue.
it really is. Uh,
Hmm.
Especially with the phone call, he needs it.
Yeah.
So apparently Dylan Gabriel's only 22, and
Bullshit. No.
started at UCF in 2019.
Okay. Why? No.
His birthday's the day
Maybe, oh, you
before
know what?
mine.
I was gonna say his birth. I thought maybe his birthday was like a leap year, so maybe he's like 4.
No, he's got a December birthday, so he was older than most of the people that he went to school with.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm gonna butcher this name, guys. I apologize, especially to the player.
I
Aiden,
I oh,
go ahead. What were you
no,
gonna say?
I thought it was Aiden Childs, but I could be wrong.
Okay, see, I was gonna pronounce it like the country, but I like
Chiles.
Childs. Yeah,
Chiles.
yeah. So we're gonna go Childs.
Yeah.
Um, Oregon State quarterback that was behind DJ Uyunglele this year is going with Jonathan Smith to Michigan State. I'm still kind of shocked that Jonathan Smith left his alma mater to go to Michigan State.
Mhm.
Like, I get it, Oregon State doesn't really have a conference next year, but it's just
It's weird.
wild to me that it happened.
You're going to a bottom tier Big Ten team. I mean, and the money must be a little bit better, and maybe there's more security in it because Michigan State's not going anywhere from at least the Big Ten. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
it's odd. It's
you
odd.
get to lose to Oregon in a different uniform now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Right. Oh
Um,
yeah. They did extend the Civil War, so that wasn't the last one that we're gonna.
yes, yes. Thank God. They really just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that they really just wanted to make sure that good.
Well,
Nemo's
that we
barking in the
watched it.
background.
No,
Um,
they want to make sure that we watched it because
that
I
college
was kind of
game day
focused on
got the
it.
last Civil War,
Yeah. Hmm.
so they're just gonna keep it going until they get college game day. 2039 game day finally shows up.
Corso's still out there.
Oh, I hope he's still in good enough health to be out there in 2039.
I think all of my kids except for Skylar will be like graduated from high school at that point. I hope not.
Good for you. Good for you.
I'll be damn near
Um,
50. Okay.
so running back Rocket Sanders left Arkansas. He is going to South Carolina, which encouraged Mario Anderson to enter the portal from South Carolina.
Upgrade.
It is an upgrade, but I do think Mario Anderson, with an offensive line that could have blocked better than a wet paper bag, would have been a good running back. I mean, he made plays behind that offensive line, so imagine what he could have done with an offensive line.
Right, right.
Um, and then South Carolina is losing Juice Wells. He is almost 100% crystal ball to Ole Miss.
That's nice.
That's scary because Georgia
Yeah.
plays in Oxford next year.
Yep. Hmm.
Oh, that's scary.
I think Grayson called it the first time we talked to him in the summer. He said Ole Miss was gonna get Georgia, probably not this year, but he talked about getting him in at Ole Miss. So
The more
I don't
I
know.
look at the schedule for next year, I wouldn't be shocked with 3 losses.
No. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, again, the game at Texas, same weekend as the F1 race.
Yeah, big disappointed that I don't have $5,000 to spend on a single weekend. If any of
Mhm.
you guys would like to donate, I will send you Kelsey's Venmo because I don't have one.
Well, I mean, you have 2 kidneys, right?
Yeah, but they don't work that well. Put them through a lot of shit in my time.
That's fair.
If I don't drink enough water, I wake up and my kidneys hurt. Looks like I'm pissing motor oil. It's bad. Oh, all right. So rumor mill on returns. One of these is just pure speculation, and that is Javon Bullard tweeted just a dog emoji. Once the portal and everything opened, people started declaring, saying they weren't coming back for bowl games. Um, Fingers crossed, toes crossed. I'll braid my hair if that helps. I
Hmm.
want Javon Bullard back on this team next year. Bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
Especially because I believe Tyke Smith is going to be out of eligibility. So if he could take that star role back, get one of these young guys that's had time to develop in its safety behind him, I'm not. I'm not opposed to it.
No, not at all.
Um, and then Lad McConkey is allegedly leaning towards coming back for his last year, um, especially because of the injuries this year, but also the depth of this wide receiver draft class.
Yeah,
Because at the beginning of the year, he was, being projected bottom of the first round, and now he's probably a day two, day three guy between the injuries and how many guys kind of showed out this year.
yeah.
So,
At best at best he'd be the third receiver taken because he's not going to get taken ahead of Marvin Harrison or Malik Neighbors.
no.
Or there's a handful of other guys at this point that were more healthy than him. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he decides to come back. I'm sure NIL wise, if he, compares that to what he would get as a day two or day three pick, it might be better for him to come back financially, depending on how the collective works for him. So,
I
and he
mean,
could stay in Athens.
I, just NIL, Ohio State's allegedly trying to get $20 million for Marvin Harrison to come back next year.
You know what? That's the whole like Shohei Ohtani conundrum. Like they're gonna give $700 million to one guy and then not be able. I don't know what their war chest is in Columbus, but I have to assume that that's going to take up most of it. You're going to lose some guys because you're going to give it to who's going to throw him the ball. I don't
Yeah,
know.
right now they don't have anybody.
Yeah, they have Air Nolan committed. If they have a freshman committed, but again, you never know what you get with them. So
Yeah, I
sure, you
think
know
it would
what?
have to
Get twenty
be
million dollars. Get
for
$20 million to
Marvin.
lose.
For Marvin, I think it would be all right, that's on the table. Who's a quarterback? He's
Hmm.
like, you already didn't get me Dylan Gabriel. So who are you bringing in? Because that tells me who if I'm staying.
For his sake, if he isn't stay, he would have to have somebody like Cam Ward or somebody like that come there, or somebody
I
that's
mean,
not in the portal yet.
he can go. He can go to like Chicago or Carolina and get way underthrown or overthrown the football in an offense that barely plays.
Hmm. Or he can go.
Um,
Oh yeah, I don't know. That's tough.
a
What I
Bears
don't know
team
if
that did beat the Lions today, though.
they did. They did. That was I wouldn't necessarily call it a shit pumping, but it was not good.
The Lions are lioning.
They are between if you would have like just broke up the season, the second half of last season, the first half of this season, Detroit would be a number one seed, but that's not how it works.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we should change that. That's I'll nobody will
Yeah,
listen
it
to me,
should
but
just be
anyway.
a rolling 17 games. And when
Hmm.
the NFL gets the most exciting matchups, they're like, all right, playoffs start now.
They should. I wouldn't put it past Goodell. You never know. Or like Adam Silver
That's,
with NBA, he would do that for sure.
I mean, they just did an in season tournament so they could give LeBron another title because he can't win one without them
How
changing the
how
rules for him.
how many in-season tournament titles and MVPs does Jordan have? Zero. Case closed. That's the whole point. It's
All
so
right,
stupid.
let's go ahead and move into Heisman talk. So obviously, Jaden Daniels won the Heisman, and I don't think that really shocked anybody that listens to this show. We've been on that since Georgia's bye week.
Mhm.
Right before Florida, we talked to Candler, and Jaden Daniels is far and away the best quarterback for this award. I think it will surprise a lot of people just how close it was. So Jaden Daniels did win by 328 points to Michael Penix, who came in second. But that's the closest the race has been since 2018 when Kyler Murray beat Tua Tagovailoa by 296 points.
My favorite part about that is Georgia cost Tua that Heisman.
That is pretty great. That
That's
is pretty great.
another dub.
Yeah, might have lost the game,
Yeah.
but you lost this guy Heisman.
Hmm.
Um, it could be worse.
It could be. Could have been the reason he
So
got a Heisman.
that's fair.
Yeah.
And Bryce Young doesn't have any national titles, so
Not as a starter. No, we don't.
so we're gonna go into the top 10 because I think a few of these guys are very surprising in how this voting kind of played out. So Jaden Daniels won 2,029 points, 503 first place votes. Penix came in second with 1,701 points, 292 first place votes. This to me is very surprising. Bo Nix with 885 points, 51 first place votes.
They
10%.
get it's a 51 people 51 people voted him ahead of the guy that beat him twice this season.
That's
Crazy.
wild. But
Yeah.
my thing is, he got 10% of the first place votes of Jaden Daniels, and they were almost neck and neck in the odds going into conference title week.
hmm Yeah, it's wild. That's crazy.
Um, Fourth, who, if you've listened to us for any length of time, Marvin Harrison Jr., first off, shouldn't have even been there.
Should have been Malik
Considering
Neighbors, if
that,
anyone.
yeah, Malik Neighbors was a better receiver this year, played for a better team. You can fight me about that if you'd like to. And just had an overall better season. Marvin Harrison Jr. was there as a career achievement award, even though he hasn't won anything other than a lot of yards in his career.
He has beaten Penn State 3 times. Good
He's
for him.
beaten Penn State 3 times. He's lost to Michigan 3 times. He's lost to Georgia once. Got knocked out from having a weak neck. I don't
Yeah.
hate Marvin Harrison Jr.,
No.
but if he played in the SEC, he would have only played 2 games this year. Homeboy would have been on a backboard week 3.
Yeah. Mhm.
But also, how did he get 20 first place votes? Do all those people live in Columbus?
They have to. I know some people will come out and say what their ballot was. I know the one voter that we both know will probably say so, soon. But uh that's an that's insane. I don't I they need to show themselves.
And the fact that Malik Neighbors isn't even in the top 10, but Marvin Harrison Jr. was at fourth with 20 first place votes is absurd.
hmm It's wrong.
Fifth, Jordan Travis, Florida State quarterback, 85 points, 8 first place votes. I'll be honest, I don't have a problem with that.
I'm surprised that he was ahead of like someone like that Jalen Milrow, to be honest.
You
But
can't unwatch the first 4 weeks with Jalen Milrow is the problem.
yeah, I mean that cost him getting benched for USF.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Throwing as many interceptions as touchdowns against Texas.
Mhm.
And then they got tore up by Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Not a good look.
Well,
Not
that was a close game though.
which one?
Texas. Oh no, Texas, Oklahoma. Sorry.
Well,
I'm thinking
yeah, I
about
was
something
saying
else.
Dylan Gabriel played a
Oh yeah.
significantly better game against Texas. That's what I was
Oh.
referring to. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Somehow Jalen Milrow got 4 first place votes. I guess those people started watching college football in week 14 tracks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Ollie Gordon the second, running back for Oklahoma State.
I, how? I
Well,
how?
he was their entire offense all year.
Yeah.
So I don't hate it. Um,
No, no. I think our next guy you're going to say, I think he should have been ahead of that. But again, at this point, you're splitting hairs. It's like a couple, like one vote one way or another. That's the difference
oh,
between you.
so yeah, I'll tell you who I would have where in a minute because I would love to eventually get a Heisman vote because I believe the award should still have integrity, unlike a lot of the voters apparently.
Mhm.
Um, Next, Cody Schrader, running back from Mizzou, 29 points, one first place vote. I don't understand how Jalen Milrow and Ollie Gordon were ahead of Cody Schrader.
Yeah, I don't get it. Hmm.
Cody Schrader played 5 top 20 rushing defenses this year, and the worst game he had was 130 yards.
Yeah, dude had a hell of a year.
I honestly, at this point, I don't see how he's not a first round running back. Take
Ooh,
him
that
late
would
in the
be.
first round.
Hmm.
Any team in the NFL would be better with Cody Schrader on the team.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Another guy that I'm kind of surprised he was on here, Blake Corum from Michigan, lost eighth place to Cody Schrader by 1 point, but had 3 first place votes, which I'm assuming most of those 28 points came from.
They would, yeah, they would have to. I don't Blake this of the last couple years, this is probably Blake Corum's worst year, even though he had a lot of touchdowns.
A
Last year
career
made a lot more
achievement.
sense.
Those were
Yeah.
career achievement votes.
Hmm.
And last on the list, shocking to me considering he had 3 touchdowns in the last 4 games of the season. J.J. McCarthy, quarterback from Michigan, 21 points, including a first place vote.
I need to know.
Does his dad have a Heisman vote?
People are asking.
Or does wait, does Harbaugh have a Heisman vote?
Oh shit. Oh, you know who probably does? Is
Who?
Desmond Howard.
You're right.
Yeah. But who would he vote for? Blake Corum or JJ? I don't know.
That is a phenomenal question. Um, that is a good question.
Yeah.
So my biggest issues with this, Marvin Harrison Jr. is in the top 10. That if a receiver is going to be in the top 10 this year and it's not Malik Neighbors, they shouldn't be in the top 10 this year.
Correct.
Jalen Milrow would probably be closer down towards 10th for me because yeah, he got better at the end of the year,
Hmm.
but you can't unwatch those first 4 weeks. This is a single season award, not a most improved player. Not a, oh yeah, you were trash in your first 6 starts of your career, but now you're good, so you're a Heisman contender.
Yeah.
Cody Schrader, I mean, I think he could have gone as high as 6.
Hmm.
Should have gone as high as 6. And Blake Corum and J.J. McCarthy. Blake Corum, I don't have a problem with him being at 10. I do think if you're going to be towards the bottom of the top 10, that's career achievement area.
Yeah.
But
I I'm honestly a little bit not concerned, but a little bit surprised that like Brock didn't
the injury.
slip in there like number 10 or something like that. Like it vote.
Yeah. Like, if you're going to do career achievement, Brock and Blake Corum, 9 and 10, either way, I don't think that. I don't think anybody who's paid attention to college football over the last 3 years should have a problem with that.
Right. Exactly. Hmm.
Um, but J.J. McCarthy didn't play well against. He played good, just good enough against the only teams that they played with a pulse,
Yes. Yep.
and that to me doesn't deserve to be a top 10 in the Heisman.
No, not at all.
All right, so we're gonna go through Army Navy a little bit because it was a typical Army Navy game. It was low scoring. I will say the last 6 minutes of the game were exciting.
Yes.
Um, so you can tell that the game has progressed some, which is nice. But Mike, you go ahead and read that first bullet.
So anyone that live bet this game, RIP, because at one point there's somebody that I know, will not say his name, that live bet this game Army -7 and also did the under 27.5. Lost both on that fucking safety at the end of the game. The They might be the baddest beat of all time. Those that did that might have been radicalized. You might They might have been. You don't know.
They're very anti-military now.
Yeah, they're big mad.
Um,
I don't blame them for being big mad because the text that I got, oh 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 my God. Um,
so
yeah, that's crazy though.
the last play of the game, I was hanging out with a friend of mine that doesn't really watch football, and I was like, all right, so they just got this goal line stop. All Army has to do is run their quarterback out of the tackle box and have him launch it into the stands. Game
Yeah.
over. Like, that's all they
Yep.
got to do. Just
Hmm.
take like 5 steps to the right and launch it as far as you can out and away.
Hmm.
And he ran back. He intentionally ran out of the back of the end zone.
It's so ridiculous. I mean, he wasn't. I don't. I'm sure he wasn't thinking about that at that point because who's caring about like the game total or anything
Yeah,
like that for them. But like,
especially for military academies. I mean, they're
right?
not going to
Yeah.
be degenerates until they get into the actual military.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. that was very funny though. But yeah, like you said, like the last like I came in the fourth quarter. That was fun. Like that's what this game is all about. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
So one of the more interesting stats, because I watched the entire game, Army passed the ball a lot more than usual. I do have some gripes about the adjustments they made towards the end of the game, but this is an Army football podcast, so we'll not go into depth on those. Um, but they almost doubled their passing yards from last season. In 2022, they had 28 yards passing.
Wow,
2023, 54.
that is almost double. And Navy actually had more passing yards than Army did.
Yeah. So yes, Army's defense was elite. Had an interception early in the game that led to them scoring, and then Navy switched quarterbacks to a guy that I don't know his first name, but his last name is Livatai.
I think his brother is on the Patriots. I think that's why Belichick picked them
Okay,
or pick Navy. Yeah.
I knew I recognized the name
Mhm.
from somewhere. Um, but Livatai essentially did whatever he wanted to do for the second half of the game. If they would have started him, Navy would have won that game because Army was playing soft zone coverage. And if you've listened to this show for any length of time, I hate soft zone coverage. Y'all know it. Like if you're going to give the receipt, if you're going to be 10 yards off the line of scrimmage from the receiver at the snap, why are you backing up immediately? Just giving them 7 yards every single play. Like
Mhm.
that's if you're
Are you going to
I
give up a big play to Navy? Are you
yeah,
now?
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like your defensive line's been doing work all day. Are you
Mhm.
telling me that you can't hold on to this receiver for 5 seconds? Is that what you're telling me? A team that would have been fifth in passing defense if you take out the LSU game, they were still top 20 with the LSU game.
Insane.
And you're like,
Yeah.
nah, man, I'm just going to hang out. Why do I need to be close to the receiver? He's not going to, oh, wait, that's a 7 yard pass. They won't do it again 20 more times.
Right. Yeah.
That was infuriating. But
Hmm.
thank God Navy got in their own way and didn't play live tie until that second half because Army won, covered the three that we talked about last week. The over hit in an unexpected way.
Yes.
I did have a prediction that the over would hit, as it has 3 of the last 4 years. Now 4 out of the last 5. But that the ending of that game, and Fury. I was texting my friend that played for Army, and I was like, "Bro, what are they doing?" And he was like, "I literally just yelled at my TV exactly what you texted me."
That the goal line stand that Army had, that
Insane.
last bit, beautiful. Beautiful. That's the fucking football I want to watch, not this 3-0 Raiders Vikings game that just finished up a little bit ago.
Yeah, that's I guarantee you, the Department of Defense is like, all right, all those defensive linemen and linebackers, they're going infantry. They
Hmm.
don't have a choice. Like,
They
oh,
should
we
put
talk.
that in a recruiting commercial.
They're like, oh, you know how we told you like last week that you were gonna go be an Apache pilot? Nah, dude. Here's a rucksack. Get going. That's that's what happened to those guys.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So you want to talk about basketball for a minute?
Just a tad bit because right now they are on a break. I assume just end the semester stuff. They don't play. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. But Mike White's team currently 6-3. They don't play again until the 16th. So what's Saturday? So this coming Saturday when they start a stretch of four non-con games against a bunch of nobodies. It's like I think like Missouri Valley State or some stuff like that. Arkansas or Alabama A&M. Like just a bunch of nobodies get ready for the SEC season. So they kick off against Mizzou in Como, seeing Como's naked.
Let's go.
I what what day that is? January 6th. The dogs on January 6th They're in Como. People are asking.
Are they going to overthrow Como?
They it's an inside job, right?
It
Drink
is.
Drink is going to try to do it. No. They could. Missouri looked like shit against Kansas when I dropped in on that yesterday, but they have plenty of time. But again, Georgia 3-1, like we talked about on Wednesday, 3-1 against the ACC. Their lone loss was against Miami. So
A good Miami team,
good, yeah.
like a
Hmm.
potential Sweet 16 caliber Elite Eight Miami team.
Yeah. Early on too. This team is going to continue to get better as we go. But just I mean, for those of you guys that haven't really watched it at all, two of their leading scorers are right around 13 points a game. It's pretty evenly spread out. They're not This team isn't going to hit like 100 points. They're not going to be like a running gun type deal. Jabari Abdur-Rahim, 13 points a game. Noah Tossin, and I'm sure I said that wrong because I haven't watched a ton
Thomason.
of it either. Thomason, it could be. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah.
I say that's
Thomason,
how it looks. That's how it looks spelled.
yeah. Noah, just Noah.
Noah
Oh,
tossing them buckets.
yeah. He's right at 12.8, and a favorite in one of the group chats I'm in, Blue Kane. Those are you
Yes,
guys that are. I don't know how he's a D1 basketball player. He doesn't look the part, but
it doesn't
he
matter.
when he gets out there, he's getting buckets. I mean,
He had a few
he
big threes in the game I went to against Wake Forest.
there we go. Blue Kane. It's got to be Kane. If anyone has seen like wrestling memes in the last like 6 months, like there was a promotion that did a blue version of Kane, and it was just very funny that Georgia has a blue Kane on the roster. It is what it is.
Yeah, but no,
It's one of those things you had to be there.
so I think everyone that's paid attention to the basketball team is excited about the way that they've progressed under Mike White over the last 2 years.
Mhm.
Um, I do think that it's going to be a little bit tougher. Obviously, going in SEC play, I think there are five ranked SEC teams right now, so
Mhm.
that's going to be a tough go of it. But pay attention. I think we're going to try and talk more basketball this year because I am slowly but surely getting into watching college basketball, mainly so I can talk about it on here.
Mhm.
Um, and you know what? I won't be able to work for 3 weeks starting next Monday, so I'll have plenty of time.
Yeah, you will see games against High Point, Mount St. Mary's, North Florida, and then Alabama A&M on, well, no one's gonna watch the Alabama A&M game because that's the same time as the Orange Bowl.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
All of those games, you can get free tickets on VetTix, no free ads. But if you're a veteran and want to go to one of those games, they're all on VetTix right now.
Mhm.
Um, if I still live closer, I'd probably be at a few of them, but is what it is. I'd rather it be 80 in December than live in Atlanta again.
Yeah, for sure. I think most of the ranked games that Georgia has are on the road, except for Tennessee and
Auburn should be at home this year.
A&M. No, it's at Auburn. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's a home and home. They got them both. Oh, but
Okay.
Auburn's not ranked right now.
Oh, I thought they were.
Oh, they could be. Nah, on the ESPN schedule I have pulled up, they're not. But
Okay. Um, so same stuff we talk about every week, guys. Follow our social media at nothing.finder.pod on Instagram, at finderpod on Twitter. Just look us up on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to check out the merch at millions.co. Got some cool stuff, and I think we're going to have some more stuff that we're going to work on come out around the new year. Um, Rate and review the show 5 stars. Send us a screenshot. We will send you a sticker. And as always,
oh,
remember
wait,
that.
I
Whoa,
have one
whoa,
more
whoa,
thing.
whoa, whoa.
One more thing. Pause. Um, in a few weeks, right around New Year's, I want to get this in everybody's head if you've made it this far, because I mean we did go a little bit shorter today, but that's cool. Not as much to talk about, but Savannah, Connect Savannah does like a best of thing, like right at New Year. They have like submissions and all that. I'll be definitely putting the podcast up for that, like nominating that, and we'll get that information out there. But that's my goal. I want to win the best one in Savannah. I want
Help
that
us, guys.
fucking tag. I want
Help
that
us.
thing. Put it on the show sticker. Best
Yes.
of.
I can also tell you that I have personal interactions with some people that have won the award that do
Mm.
not deserve the award. Um, and I think we might be the only sports podcast in Savannah. So,
There's one, and they're not nearly as good. And not to toot our own horn, but I've tried listening to them. It ain't it.
okay,
They're not us.
you heard it. Don't even listen to them. Just vote for us.
Yeah,
As always, guys, remember there is nothing finer in the land
then a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan.